Miguel with how well he played.
No.
Right.
I think they're going to make Molino fight for that position.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's awesome. I literally scribbled out my starting lineup on my paper here last night. We're basically in complete agreement. And so you brought it up. The question marks that I had for the beginning of the season, whether it's game 1 or game 2 or game 3, my questions were Ethan Fenley, how is he going to fit in? Molino, I assume he is dealing with that injury, so we aren't going to see him early on.
Right.
And then the other question marks were, I think Chase Gasper, we mentioned it last pod, he's making some improvements, so I'm not saying he's going to be a game 1 starter, but I want to see, could he come in early on? So he might play a role there. Also, of course, you mentioned it, Kalman, he's gonna play an important role.
And that's an interesting. Chase Gasper is an interesting one because Heath really likes him, and he's everything is scouting says that he's MLS ready.
Yep.
So it's interesting because you've got Calvo, who is making a lot of money.
Yep.
He's an international.
Yep.
It's hard to imagine he's going to sit on the bench. Right?
They can't sit Calvo
he's
on the
captain,
bench.
Right?
Captain.
So it'll be interesting to see how they play Gasper. Because I think he's too good to be loaned out, but he's too young to not get minutes.
Sure.
And Calvo's going to take the minutes.
He is, yeah.
Yeah,
So,
I really think we're gonna see a lot of different combinations of roster lineups. Anyways, maybe not so much in March, where you have 4 games in 5 weeks. But as soon as you start getting into April and May, and especially into May and June, that's when the season gets busy. You're talking Wednesday, Saturday, Wednesday, Sunday. You got a lot of those combinations.
There's a lot of they condensed the season by a month.
Yep.
Right.
So it'll be nice to have that rotation, which is why I think Gasper will hang around. I think Manley might hang around. I even think that Dotson might hang around.
Sure.
And it lends to the St. Clair argument.
Yeah.
And then
There's a lot of opportunity for rotation.
And one more kind of roster question or lineup is: would you expect anything other than on March 2nd for the Loons to come out and their typical 4-2-3-1 formation?
I think it's going to be 4-2-3-1 because that's what Heath likes, and Heath has always wanted to play that. We finally have the personnel to do that.
We do, yeah.
So I think it's going to be. He was playing around with the 4-3-3 in preseason in Arizona. He did it a little bit last season. It's a nice formation, but with the personnel we have now with Ozzy and Jan, I just think you have to do a 4-2-3-1, and if Ozzy can't play a game, then you switch to a 4-3-3.
Like you said, they made the signings this offseason to play that formation.
Exactly.
So that's why I really didn't go through it, because I kind of figured we are pretty much all on the same page on who's going to start. Molino is my big question mark.
Yep.
Is he going to be healthy enough to play? And if he is, do they put him in?
Right. And like we discussed on messages this past week, I didn't even realize he re-hurt.
I didn't either.
His
it's
right
got to
knee,
be.
I think it was.
It's got to be minor though, if we're not hearing
he
about it.
Participated yesterday,
Yeah.
so it's got to be relatively minor.
It just sucks that a guy like him who's been injured the past how many years?
He missed basically all of 16, or is it 15? 15.
Yep.
And then essentially all of 18.
Yeah, he missed all those times.
Yeah.
And then you see another injury come about and you go, will this ever stop?
Right.
Or is it going to be he plays, 20 games in a season, he gets injured again, and he's going to be one of those guys who can play 20, 30, 20, 25 games a season, but he's going to be injured, most of the time, So
Right.
I want to apologize because the chairs in here grind against the cement so bad that you can hear them.
That was mostly me, by the way.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
It's funny because last time when we were at Wicked Wart, we had dogs barking,
Right, yeah.
and now we got chair scraping. And when we're in my garage, we have people doing their lawnmowers and
Right,
pressure
yeah.
washing. So we never get to a place where we don't have some sort of background.
And in fact, the 2 times that we were at my place, we
Yeah.
had dogs barking as well.
Dogs barking, yeah, exactly right.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's like nuts.
But testament to the place we're at.
yes,
It's busy,
it is busy. Yeah,
and the weather's not fantastic, but it's not
No,
bad.
it's not bad.
So it's good. It's good.
Yeah, the atmosphere is great, and I think we're actually to the point where we
Yeah.
could talk about moving, but I don't think we're going to find.
Yeah, I think we're out of
better
luck now.
spot.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
nothing. We will deal.
But there's a
Yeah.
reason we're here, and there's a reason why everybody else is here.
That's right, that's right.
Yes,
At
and it's the
Invictus.
fantastic beer.
Yes.
they need to put those little feelers in the bottom of all these chairs, though.
That would be expensive. No, actually, it wouldn't necessarily be expensive, but can you imagine how tedious that would be?
Oh yeah, it'd be
Putting
tedious.
the little felt bottoms
Yeah.
on every single chair.
That's what you got employees for, though.
Right.
Should we,
let's-
continue with the predictions here?
Let's
get
We-
predictions.
and
Let's
'cause
go-
we want to get the winners of the conference, playoff teams, and then specific to
Let's go-
MNUFC.
Let's go to winners of the conferences and kind of like what do you think is going to happen, because I have predictions for that.
Okay. Do you want to
And,
start us off, or do you?
I'll
want-
start us off because
Okay.
I got the Western. We'll start with the Western Conference
Okay.
and go in there, and we'll go to Eastern Conference. And I think we should just do who we think is going to win each conference first.
Okay.
I mean, that's that.
I mean, if we want to
I mean,
rattle off the playoff teams
I did the
real
top
quick.
and the
Yeah.
worst.
Okay.
I think we want to do. Let's just do the best. Let's do who's going to win each conference.
All right, okay.
And then after that, let's go into where we think United are going to fit into that.
Yeah.
The Western Conference. So I'm going to go with the West first, and I'm going to go for a dark horse to win the Western Conference, and that is LA Galaxy.
Okay.
Interesting.
And I can just say, we'll get your reasons here, but I can just say I had the Galaxy penciled in at number 4, finishing 4th in the West.
Yeah.
So why do you think they're going to win?
I just think last year they were on the outside looking in. I get a feeling that they're going to kind of come up this year and get better.
Plus, they have Ibrahimovic.
Well, they have Ibrahimovic, and they have Manny. Ramirez is with them, right?
No, that's
LAFC.
LAFC.
LSC. Sorry.
Yeah. But they have
Ibrahimovic
Dos
is-
Santos. They have. They just signed another one because they have the issue with having 4 DPs right now.
Yeah,
I can't think of what his name is.
My thought was that they were just a little bit away from the playoffs last year.
Yeah.
This year, I think they're going to make a big turn. I think there's a lot of people who are with that team.
Sure.
They're very with Ibrahimovic. They're a very cocky team.
They are. Yeah.
I like cocky teams.
Sure.
Who'd you guys have for the Western Conference?
So I have Sporting to repeat.
Really?
Hey,
Yeah.
well, that's easy. That's
But we took one of their guys.
That's actually, we fleeced Sporting and took Iko Parr. I'll let
Yeah.
you continue, but that's actually who I had winning the West as well.
Right. And even though we took Opara, they had some significant depth on defense. So
Yeah.
I just don't think that hurt them too much.
That was part of my reasoning too. Is that yes, we took one of their top defenders, but part of the reason that Iko Parra became unhappy was because of the players that
Right.
they signed to at least, whether I guess at the time they might have been thinking of depth, but they brought in some good players, and also my other reason was just their strong second half.
Yeah.
I was actually torn between, for the same reason, a strong second half. I was torn between Sporting KC to win the West and actually Seattle. And that
sure.
sounds a little crazy considering how bad Seattle started the season
They
last
did.
year. But look at where they finished and how strong they came on. So, and it's hard to ever write that team off.
Yeah, I mean, I was between Sporting and LAFC. Sorry. But I think Sporting.
Yeah,
That's
quick
my
hitter. I mean, I went Sporting first, LAFC second, Seattle third.
Okay.
Obviously, the Galaxy fourth. So, yeah, I'm surprised we agreed there. I thought I was going to be alone in the Sporting prediction.
All right. So let's move on to the Eastern
East.
Conference.
Yeah.
I'm saying Red Bulls repeat because I don't like Atlanta.
So I said Red Bulls as well.
Yeah.
Because I think Atlanta's got a new manager. They got rid of Elmeron.
Yep.
You know, they still have Martinez. Yes, they replaced Elmeron with Pity Martinez, and Barco will probably get more time. But they lost Garza. Parkhurst, I believe, is also gone now.
They've lost a lot of guys.
Not to mention their head coach.
And the head coach,
with Tata leaving, you know, having to get that new chemistry in the midfield.
Yeah.
I don't think they'll win it. I'm not saying they're not going to be number 2, but I think Red Bull will be higher. I think they'll finish it.
I actually had Red Bulls finishing 3rd in the East, so we obviously there's a little. Now, granted, you know, I was tempted to stick with my, you know, we did in the early into the postseason last year. We did our predictions. I picked Atlanta to win. I don't want to keep rubbing that in, but it's hard for me to get off Atlanta just because they, in my opinion, yes, there's a couple losses, but I think overall they maybe improved their club with Pity Rodriguez coming from Argentina and River Plate. But I actually ended up picking DC United to win the East. I think that combination of Rooney and Kellen Acosta, who was looking to be transferred or maybe traded or moved in that transfer window, that international signing day.
That was a complete fiasco.
It was a fiasco, but bottom line is he didn't move. He's going to be with DC United, and I mean I don't want to sound like a broken record here, but you talk about strong second halves. That DC United team with that combination of Rooney and Acosta looked phenomenal going down the stretch. I know it didn't end the way they wanted to, but that's going to be my pick, DC United in the East.
Having Rooney is a big thing for them, and you're right. I see them probably being 2nd or 3rd this year.
Yeah.
Battling Atlanta for that 2nd or 3rd position.
Yeah, I definitely think they'll be up towards the top. I mean, I guess if I had to make a decision, I could see it being Red Bull, Atlanta, DC. I think Red Bull will take the supporters shield. Sorry, so I think they'll top out the overall league again. I mean that's pretty good. So where do we got Minnesota?
Yeah, I'm going to say Minnesota's going to be 5th in the West.
Okay, I'm with you.
And I think that it's going to be a hard-fought 5th place. I think it's going to come down. I'm hoping that it comes down to the last game of the year.
Okay.
And I'm hoping we're excited for that last game, and all 3 of us are watching it, doing a podcast afterwards, and saying, holy shit, United made the playoffs.
That's where we wanted to be last year.
That's where we wanted to be last year.
And, so where do you got him?
I actually have him penciled in at 6. Now, I was going through this last night as well, and I honestly, if you told me 5th, 6th, 7th, I wouldn't argue with any of those spots. But I put him in at 6, but I was really struggling with that 5th spot as well. So I kind of agree. I don't see them cracking that top 4. I really don't at this point. I hope months from now maybe we will be talking about that top 4 spot. But as we sit here, I have them in that 5th, 6th, 7th spot. So I just landed on 6.
Yeah. So I think, we discussed this earlier about goals allowed. I think they'll drop to around 58.
That'd be nice.
I think it's still going to be... I mean, that's still on the high end, especially for the West last year. But I think that's pretty good. You trim 13 goals off your season.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. So I'm going right around in there, 58.
Yeah, and goals allowed. So that, and I think that's where we're putting him in that slot, kind of in the standings. Is if you can drop your goals like that, and also, so you need to talk about how many more points they need to end up with. So instead of sitting at 39 points to end the season, they're going to need to be in that 50 to 55.
Right. And if they finish 5th, I put them at 55 points.
Yeah. So that's 5 games. That's they need to win about 5 more games, and I don't think that's unrealistic. I'm not going to say they're going to have a winning record on the road, but to think they're going to end up with more than 1 road victory.
They're going to have to pull in my opinion, 4 wins on the road this year.
Yeah, and I think that's realistic to expect. So that's why I don't think when we talk about a 15-point jump potentially, 10 to 15-point jump, I don't think that's unrealistic at all.
Yeah. Not when you're getting 3 points for a win.
And then the other thing I wanted to bring up when I was writing down these teams and just trying to figure out maybe where they'd land up, I think expanding the playoffs helps. So now you have 7 slots in each league, 7 out of the 12 in each league. it's hard for me to. I think it would be a massive failure not to make the playoffs, not to end in that top 7 spot.
It will be.
Just
I
looking
can
at the
guarantee
teams
you
that
heads will roll if we don't make the playoffs.
Yes.
Yeah, they will.